Hi there, everybody. And of course, you already know we got Erica back with us tonight from Unsung Horrors. Erica, thanks for coming back.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Well, biggest thing, I mean, it's been, the middle of the Indiegogo was last time you were here, and we got this. We got a cover reveal.
Yes.
This is a big deal. This is freaking gorgeous.
Yeah. Haunt Love just killed it. I mean, I gave him like zero direction. I was like, I don't know, just dead kids and you do the thing that you do. And yeah, he came up with that. And there is actually an alternate cover that he came up with that's drastically different. And I am going to be making stickers out of those and sending
Nice.
those out with the for the backers for that. So I'm keeping that one close to the chest though, because it's fun.
Nice.
So
Yeah, this looks genuinely great. And for those that didn't see the Shelf Shock Rewind Awards, Haunt Love actually had an appearance in there.
yeah,
And now you've got an award-winning designer behind your book cover. That's pretty freaking awesome.
I do. Can I
Yeah,
use the
this
little
is
Shelf Shock logo in there and put like
yeah, of
award
course.
winning?
I'm very very happy for you. It sincerely looks great, and I first of all, how do you feel like it went now that it's behind you with the whole Indiegogo thing?
I'm still a little shocked at how well it went, and I'm still getting a few people trickling in that are saying, "Oh, I'm bummed I missed
Yeah,
the campaign. When is it going to be available?" I'm trying not to be like too specific because I still don't know exactly. Justin's still working on the layout, and once it goes off to the printer, who knows? The way that supply chain is right now, how long it's going to
yep.
take. So I've been telling people, best case scenario is June, but more realistically, it's probably going to be later than that. But
Yeah,
we'll see. You never know.
seems like
It's been
everything
a
is at
great,
least slightly delayed lately.
yeah. But I mean, I feel like 2023 is my year, so maybe the cards will align and everything will ship super quickly, just for me.
Well, on that note, how's everything else been going? I know you've been going to some screenings and watching a shit ton of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Just the usual. Yeah, it's been nice just not having a lot of well, actually, I mean, I kind of traded off the book writing for some other projects. So I just turned in another essay that's going to be in a booklet coming out in a release later this year.
Nice,
And right now I'm working on a video essay for another release that I'm really excited about. So,
awesome.
yeah, so keeping busy still.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Everybody in the chat, I wanted to let you know about one thing. We've had a couple people already ask, are we going to midnight Eastern for the Vinegar Syndrome announcements? There is a second stream. Erica and I are going to be done somewhere around probably 11-ish Eastern. And then we will come back, or I will come back in that second stream. And that one's going to start at 11:30 Eastern. And a friend of both of ours, Celeste de la Cabra, is going to be joining us for the Vinegar Syndrome stream tonight. So we're going to do that. Media Membrane asks, when is the essay for the new Children of the Corn film coming
Oh,
out?
come on. Look, it's in the book. That's enough, all right? That's all that movie gets. Stupid fucking Children of the Corn.
How bad is it? Because
It's horrible.
obviously you didn't give like a detailed review in the Discord.
It's clearly just slapdash put together, and the problem with it too is that every character is an exaggeration, and it's just it's made by someone who doesn't know how to write dialogue, and the child actors are usually bad, so usually you're not going to come out too well if you have them, but it just, I don't know. I already put it on my head. I forgot why I hated it. I just know I did. I'll
I've
champion.
not caught up on the whole. I've not caught up on the whole franchise. I know that you have, and that's
Mm-mm.
I can't even say I'm jealous, but
You shouldn't be. No.
I've never loved really any of them. I don't even understand how the first one hit for so many people back in the
Yeah.
day.
I think it's Stephen King syndrome. People just kind of latch
Yeah.
onto it. I don't think it's that good at all. I will, and I've said this many times, I will die on the hill that part 3 is good and it's the best in the series. That one's super fun. It's got effects by Screaming Mad George in it.
Yeah.
It's so 90s, and I hate the 90s, like fashion, movies, music, all of it. But it's so endearing because it is so 90s. So I'll defend part 3, but everything else I'm like, and there's part 2 has that lady, the old lady in the wheelchair flying through a window. So there's that. But everything else, no. Like Children of the Corn, it's terrible. And I've seen all the Hellraiser movies, and I'll take those before I'll take the Children of the Corn.
Oh, 100%. That franchise is, well, they're not all good, but they're all at least entertaining for the most part.
I wouldn't say all, but more than
the vast majority of them.
Yes. More than half, barely more than half.
What, 6 of them, 7 of them, something like that? Yeah.
They're on 10. Wait.
Okay, so yeah, barely more than half. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So, like I said, 2 streams tonight, and come back to that other one, 11:30 Eastern, and we'll go through the Vinegar Syndrome stuff with Celeste. But for tonight, Erica and I were going to do the announcements, and then to celebrate our last big week of Women's Appreciation Month. Why don't you share what we're talking about? Because I'd rather hear you discuss why.
You want me to hear? I can like eloquently pitch this topic too.
Yeah, flowery like this is going in the essay booklet of your choice.
I'm just kidding. We're talking about dick destruction, y'all. So, I mean, just as some, to frame it and give some context for it, Fantastic Fest every year has 100 Best Kills clip show. And last year it was dick destruction. And it was curated by this woman, Louise Weird. I think I pronounced her last name because it's Weard. And so she has this list on Letterboxd of movies that all have dick destruction or, something traumatic happening to that area. And it's actually, it's really interesting because I found a lot of similarities in how she put that list together and how her kind of thinking behind it, because she was like, well, some of it's just for like slapstick comedy's sake, like Simpsons football in the groin kind of thing. Right. But then there's also ones where a lot of it's about rape revenge and, getting back at your attacker. And then there's also plenty where she addresses people who are transitioning and are voluntarily mutilating themselves. So it's a really interesting perspective from that point of view. I'm obviously going to, go lean hard into the rape revenge and for, shock and comedy's sake for this, because that's just more my speed. But she's on Letterboxd. It's Louise Weird's comprehensive list of penis mutilation or something like that. And she's even named the subgenre. She calls it penis mutilation exploitation. And she's got some of her own short films that feature that in there. Her latest one, I think, is SIDS. And it's really amazing. It's on Vimeo. She's got a link to it on her Letterboxd list. So, so anyway, that was a kind of long explanation for it, but yeah, we're going to talk about some movies with some dick destruction.
Well, and for this topic specifically, I hope that this is not on your list, but the obvious one that people are going to go to most likely was already mentioned in the chat, which is the OG I Spit on Your Grave, the bathtub scene. And it's not on my list primarily because it's not very shocking. It's not, obviously it's meant to be vengeance primarily, and you see it in a way that is tense, but it's not even like that exploitative, because the exploitative part came when she was attacked in the beginning, and it's just somebody feeling their hurt after they dished it out. And there's a lot of bloody water, like in many of these movies actually, but it's a scene that is kind of like subtle almost. It's very quiet until his one scream. And she does it very methodically, but it's a scene that is, for a lot of people that watched this years ago, it's most likely burned into your brain just for envisioning how that could happen. And funny thing, there's a lot of parallels between that scene and many of these, where some of these start as pleasure and end in the worst nightmare pain.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night. I did find, films directed by Louise Weird. Oh, I found the SIDS. Okay. Yep. That was a weird sentence. I'm not going to repeat that. I'm going to have to look this up because SIDS is kind of near and dear. I had a friend lose a childhoods, and yeah, very interested.
It's not quite about that,
I
but
figured.
yeah. But it's they're all short. They're all the two. I've seen two of the ones that she's directed, and they're both really good. She also has a new podcast that just started this year called Trans Panic. With really good perspective on some films that have come out even more recently on Blu-ray, like Freeway 2. And I can't remember some other ones that I listened to from that, but it's good. I definitely recommend it.
Philip Jeffrey says, I went to see Antichrist at an art house theater as a very young man. The audiences were all elderly. That was an interesting experience. All those old men groaning and their wives just chuckling. Yes, that is the primary experience through many of these scenes. We'll get into those after the announcements. And I'm going to, as we're speaking, I'm going to try to find the Letterboxd list and Louise's stuff, because this is just a list of films that she directed. But I will put that link in the chat in just a minute. Announcements. We started this week with Imprint, and a fair warning, neither one of us have seen many of the films from this week. This is going to be a not very in-depth episode, but there's not a lot of stuff to go over anyways. It was a fairly light week. Though Imprint, I don't think we talked about Imprint at all last time. Have you gotten anything from Imprint yet?
Yeah, actually, I got, I have a few on my shelf, but John got me
nice.
for my birthday, so I was excited about that. I love this movie, so yeah, stoked on
that. That new release of Jacob's Ladder is finally hitting some of the retailers in the U.S.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm really stoked to see if that comes out with a better scan, because the old one, it wasn't bad, but it definitely could use some upgrades, and they got some new features, so that's always good.
Yeah.
All right, so these are June releases, all coming on June 28th, and this first one is a Louis Malle film with Jeremy Irons and Juliette Binoche called Damage. This is from 1992, and Jeremy Irons and Juliette Binoche are lovers locked in the grip of sexual obsession, an obsession so strong it drinks passion, breathes fire, and consumes everything and everyone it touches. It's a Louis Malle film, basically.
Yeah.
It does sound interesting, and I've not seen this one of his, and yeah, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I love Jeremy Irons, so I'm happy to roll the dice on it. So sure,
especially 90s Jeremy Irons.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, My Summer of Love from 2004. This is one that has Emily Blunt, and I don't think I'd heard of this one. This must have been pretty young in her career. Kindred spirits from different worlds become entangled together one volatile summer in this passionate psychological thriller. Imprint really doing good by a lot of thrillers over this last year or so. So very interested in this. This one, we got some cast and crew interviews, some deleted scenes, B-roll footage. Yeah, looks like a decent release overall.
Yeah.
Tony wants to know, do you have Lolita in your collection from Imprint? Jeremy Irons.
I don't know. I have so my collection's in a weird spot right now because John moved in October, but we've been doing construction, so everything is not organized. So I don't even know what he has, so he might have it. So who knows? I might get surprised.
Tony is biased. He is the one that does the Imprint cast, the podcast where he goes over all the announcements. So he is a big fan of Imprint.
Okay.
Next up, Not One Less, coming in June from Imprint. This is from 1999, and this is the Zhang Yimou film, or Zhang Yimou. I never heard the right way to say that last name. In this crushing poverty of rural China, a young woman is ordered to a remote village to be their substitute teacher. Barely older than her students, the shy girl is charged with keeping the class intact for 1 month or she won't be paid. Faced with overwhelming family debt, her biggest little troublemaker disappears into the city to find work. The stubborn teacher, however, is determined to follow the boy and bring him back to school. Once in the city, her simple peasant pleas fall on deaf ears, and only when the local television station sympathizes does her search bear fruit. And obviously, I'm not sure if you're familiar with any of Zhang Yimou's films, but wonderful filmmaker, beautiful, beautiful cinematography. So I'm very curious to see this one.
Okay.
And Eric, the Asian movie enthusiast, who I haven't seen in a long time, hello, welcome, says possibly their best movie, which that is enticing. Philip says Tony is so biased. Love that. Next up is Milena. This is from 2000 and stars Monica Bellucci with a very provocative cover on the inside there.
Yeah, side boob. Good for them.
For imprint too. That's pretty rare for imprint. This says Monica Bellucci stars in the story of the most beautiful woman in an Italian village who becomes the subject of malicious gossip among the lustful townsmen and their jealous wives, because of course. But only her most ardent admirer will learn the untold true story of the mysterious and elusive Milena, who inspires new heights of compassion, courage, and independence. And the one that directed Cinema Paradiso, which that is very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Philip had one of his Monica Bellucci dreams last night, I guess. This one, I was not ready to see this one announced. Very, very surprised by this. Leap from 2020 is getting an imprint release. This is a Gong Li film, and it's a sports-themed movie chronicling the development of China's ladies volleyball team. From the 80s to its current status as one of the powerhouses in the international women's game. I don't think I've ever seen a volleyball film, unless you count Top Gun.
Yeah, no. Go sports.
Go red team. And then probably the physically largest announcement of the month from imprint is The Bounty from 1984 with a stacked cast. This is coming in a hard box with unique artwork and a booklet with the original press kit on it. And this is from we got Anthony Hopkins, Mel Gibson, Daniel Day-Lewis, Liam Neeson, Laurence Olivier, and this looks fantastic. We have an audio commentary by the director and producer, production designer, audio commentary by Stephen Walters. There's a making of from 1984. There is a visual essay from 2004 narrated by Stephen Walters. And then they have all these new things. We got a new interview with the director, new featurette on the history of film adaptations of The Bounty, new featurette on the film score. There's a 1981 documentary surrounding the construction of The Bounty, which is a replica ship and the early development of the film. 1984 documentary on the voyage from New Zealand to Tahiti, where they delivered the Bounty replica for shooting this. New interview with a maritime historian, which is pretty cool. Stephen Walters is a maritime historian now, I guess. And then a new 90-minute feature with the cast and crew. That's a lot for this movie.
Yeah. Like I'm more interested in the features than the movie.
You're not all about Mel Gibson in 2023?
Kind of not, I mean.
Oh, wow. All of the innuendos tonight. Physically largest announcement was my nickname in college, says Paul Higgins. That was a great response to you. Anthony says, were you the big man on campus? Moving right along, from imprint to superhero movies, we are getting a 4K steelbook for Shazam! Fury of the Gods. That is coming in June on 4K. You can get that at Best Buy right now. Over the weekend, there was a spotlight on Canadian International Pictures that I hope everybody got caught up on. And of course, that's past it. And then my favorite announcement of the week. I can't wait to have this in my hand because I love this freaking movie. May 30th, Kino Lorber is giving us Night of the Hunter on 4K. This gets an audio commentary by Tim Lucas. There is filmmaker Ernest Dickerson on The Night of the Hunter. This is on the Blu-ray. Kathy Garver on The Night of the Hunter is also on the Blu-ray. Not very much new on this, but this is one of the most beautiful films of all time. I can't wait to own this again.
Yeah.
What do you think of Night of the Hunter?
I love this movie. Honestly, like if I didn't have my rule of, keep them where the judge can't see them, I would have the love-hate on my knuckles too. Like I love this movie so much.
That's a good rule.
Yeah.
Night of the Hunter is genuinely a perfect movie, I think. There's not much that I could critique about this. Yeah. Robert Mitchum is terrifying in an oddly Midwestern way. Some of the scenes, like the underwater scene, is still chilling to this day. And again, 4K on this is going to make it shine.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. We are continuing down the Burt Reynolds path with Kino Lorber. They are giving us Starting Over from 1979, and no release date on this. This also has Candice Bergen in it, and I don't know anything about this because I have not watched too many Burt Reynolds films. Are you a Burt Reynolds mustache fan?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll jump off Franco Nero's mustache and ride that one every now and then. But like, you know, I haven't seen too many of his films.
But if Franco Nero's still there, I mean,
he's never going to die. You know that,
that's
right?
True. He's not allowed.
No. Yeah. Come on, Ryan.
Keeping it going with the Burt Reynolds, they are giving us Paternity from 1981 with Burt. And this one has Beverly D'Angelo and Norman Fell, and a creepy poster with the mustache pointing at you saying he wants you to have his baby.
Yeah, no thanks, Burt. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I just don't want babies in general, so I mean.
Smart. They might end up in your book. Coming on May 31st from Via Vision, which is the imprint parent company, we are getting a special collector's ultimate edition of Wolf Creek. And just a fair warning for everybody, it looks like the disc is the same as what they have released previously. This is one of those movies that has gotten releases to death, especially out of Australia, since it's an Australian film. Wonderful movie. This is getting both cuts of the film. It's going to be individually numbered, has this big 3D lenticular hard case and some art cards. What do you think of Wolf Creek?
I like it fine. I mean, I saw this announcement and I was like, oh, that's just, collector bait right there. That's all I could think about the release. I haven't seen Wolf Creek since it came out. I remember thinking it was okay, so I might be due for a rewatch on it, but
have you seen anything else from the rest of the franchise?
I don't think so. I don't think the first one stuck with me enough for me to do that, but if I rewatch the first one, then maybe I'll be more inclined to watch the others.
The second film has a pretty gnarly dick destruction scene.
Oh, okay.
And then this is not super common. It's getting a little more common with what we're getting nowadays. But Wolf Creek actually had a TV show, and the second season might actually be the best of Wolf Creek, which is odd. But yeah, it's actually decent. I like the first one fine too. It's not a classic necessarily. I will say it's a pretty good villain. He's pretty sinister, but it's not. Yeah. It's not necessarily iconic either.
Yeah. John asked if I'm going to see The Pope's Exorcist since Nero's in it. And yeah, I saw the trailer for that. I can't remember what we were at the theater seeing. And the trailer came on and my eyes were just rolling in my head. I was like, okay. And then Franco Nero came on. I was like, oh, fuck. Now I got to see it.
But what about Renfield? That's one I'm curious what you're thinking.
I'm good.
No Nick Cage?
I mean, I like Nick Cage. I thought I loved Pig, but yes. I don't Nick Cage, like Nick Caging that's too much for me. I don't need it. Like maybe I'll see it at some point, but I feel like it's just going to be too self-aware, and it's not my bag.
Yeah, I get that. But also it's Nick Cage, so it's tough. May 22nd, Third Window Films is giving us Go from 2001. This is the first Blu-ray release in the entire world. This is being called a contemporary Japanese classic, and this is based on the award-winning novel by Kazuki Kaneshiro. This says, Shugihara feels more like a misfit than most high school students, being the son of a Japanese mother and a North Korean father. Changing schools does not help much, as he is simply taunted by a different group of kids. Fortunately, his father has given him boxing lessons to keep the bullies at bay. When Shugihara falls for the popular Sakurai, and she seems interested in him, he sees the possibility of being accepted. This was the submission for the Japanese official submission for the 74th Academy Awards in 2002. I've not seen this one, but I've heard it's pretty damn great.
Okay. I haven't seen it or even heard of it, actually, so...
Third Window Films does great stuff, though, and always needs more support.
Oh yeah, and, I've pitched them a few things in our Blu-ray wish list episodes. So come on, Third Window.
Asian movie enthusiast, who is the expert on all these, chimes in and says it's a good movie. It's been a while since he's seen it. That's nice. Let's see. I feel like, yeah, Jonathan in the chat says Pope's Exorcist trailer was the second of 3 demon possession movie trailers in a row.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it right now.
Yeah, so John, we were at the movies and like I can't even remember what the movies were now, but yeah, it was the second of 3 and I was like, is this all that's coming out now for new horror? I think Evil Dead Rise was probably one of them. Yep. And then that Pope's Exorcist, and then something else. I don't remember which one, but
and then Scream 6 is where I saw the Pope's Exorcist trailer recently.
Okay,
so could have been that.
It might have been Terror Tuesday. I don't know what we saw. I didn't see Scream 6. John did though, so yeah.
Alrighty. This one is interesting. So A24 is releasing a 4K of The Lighthouse. First off, is this your sort of film?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to see this at when it premiered at Fantastic Fest.
Oh, nice.
And the theater, it was a secret screening. The theater was packed. Robert Eggers was there. Oh, wow. And I had the worst seat. I was in like the second row and I was in between like 2 huge guys and I just like had my popcorn like this and I was so happy though. Yeah, I think it's a great movie.
So in classic A24 style, this it looks gorgeous. The art style on it is amazing. It's going to be one of the larger releases like that original Midsummer release. They've got some extras on this. There is a mini documentary on composer Mark Corbin, a costume walkthrough, an interview with the costume designer. They did update their listing, and I did not update this post with it, but there is going to be a commentary on this with Eggers. But the thing that makes this super interesting is out of nowhere, Arrow Video dropped a teaser making it appear as if next week, they're going to be releasing The Lighthouse. I'm shocked if they could do that. I don't think they've had anything really that would be close to that. So I'm very curious to see what they'll do with it.
Yeah.
And this was not cheap. I mean, this is, I think, $47 on the A24 site. And it's a single disc 4K release for a film that has already been out a couple years. I love the movie, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay that for. I like the movie too. I have the Blu-ray that I got for $20 when it first came. I'm good. I'm good with that. It's a very, very nice looking release though.
I did put up an interview this week with Jeff Smith, who did the Whodunit documentary on Clue. Give that a watch if you get a chance. I know this is your favorite series, though, so I wanted to get to this quickly. May 30th, Paramount is releasing a Transformers 6 Steelbook collection in 4K. How many of these have you pre-ordered so far?
-62.
This one is so
I went
weird.
in and like all the people who pre-ordered, I went in and canceled their orders for them. I'm just kidding. I don't care.
Made Amazon pay you because you weren't going to buy it.
Yeah.
This one's weird. Like everyone to me that loves these movies already has all of these on 4K. And there's another one coming out. They did the same thing recently with John Wick. It's so odd that we're getting these collections when one is about to drop. I don't
cash grabs. I mean,
of course, but it's just so blatant.
They don't hide it anymore. They're just like, yeah, we're here to make money. That's it.
This is true. Synapse had a new announcement this week, which is fairly rare nowadays, so it's nice to see. July 11th, they are giving us McBain from 1991. This has Christopher Walken in this, and it's a decent looking release. We got a new 5.1 surround soundtrack that is made for this release specifically. Audio commentary with the director and film historian Chris Paggiali. The original trailer, newly translated subs, and it'll probably be one of their fairly budget releases. So it's nice to see. Overall, Synapse. It doesn't look like the rest of their filmography so far that they've put out.
It's odd, but I mean, no one said you have to stay in your lane, so good for them.
Yeah, glad we're getting it. Next up, the 14th entry in film noir, the Dark Side of Cinema series from Kino. We got some details that's coming out on May 30th. This has a new 2K master on Appointment with a Shadow, and that's the only new master that they listed. So That should tell you the other two are still going to be pretty old masters, probably. New audio commentary for Undercover Girl by Julie Kurgo. New audio commentary for One Way Street by Lee Gambin and costume historian Alyssa Rose. New audio commentary for Appointment with the Shadow by David Del Valle and filmmaker David Decateau. And then some trailers. You're not super into film noir, are you?
No, I do. I like them. I've never heard of any of these, but yeah, no, I get down with noir.
The guy from Kino is making it sound like they are going to do as many of these as they can bleed out of a rock, basically. So they're probably going to have many more of these coming.
I believe it.
Many more. Criterion had their flash sale this week. Hope everybody got what they wanted and spent wisely. This one is interesting. I'm still very confused by this release, so let's go into it. April 18th, Shout Factory is giving us the Brave Archer collection. This is the Brave Archer from 1977, the Brave Archer 2 from 78, the Brave Archer 3 from 81, the Brave Archer and his mate from 82, and then Little Dragon Maiden from 83. We've got a whole bunch of commentaries, a lot of special features and all this. The odd thing, they made this for some reason a site exclusive, limited to 2,500 units. Martial arts films are like the hottest thing in physical media right now. Why are we limiting this to just the Shout Factory website?
I don't think they make good choices.
No. I'm very confused. I would not be surprised if 88 Films released this soon, especially because they've done a lot of the other Shaw Brothers films. They'd likely have either the licenses already or the ability to get the licenses for the UK. Just for anybody that is out of the US and worried about picking this up, because Shout Factory doesn't send their stuff directly outside of the US for many of their releases. This one's odd, very odd. I'm shocked.
Yeah, I have the first one from 88 Films sitting unopened on my shelf. So I'll let the collectors at it, since it's, site exclusive 2,500. I'm like, I'm good.
The weird thing, their site exclusives have not been selling as well. People are finally seeming to answer with their wallet a little bit. And I'm hoping that changes some things. But this seems like the most egregious of them all. This martial arts films are selling like crazy from every other label. And they're like, let's just limit it. And the worst thing, they just updated their website, and it's horrible to walk through at the moment. And now everybody that wants this has to go to their website.
Come look at our new shitty website.
If you really want this. Another Burt Reynolds film, The Longest Yard, is coming. This one on 4K on May 16th from Kino. This one has a new audio commentary with Elaine Silver and James Orsini, authors of Whatever Happened to Robert Aldrich. There is another audio commentary on here by Burt Reynolds and Albert S. Ruddy. There's some featurettes on the Blu-ray. And if you're into The Longest Yard, this is probably the best release for this. I got to admit, they did pretty damn good with the cover art on this.
I like it.
That's Kino's not always the best, but this one looks pretty good for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about Collector's Bait a minute ago. I don't know if you read this or saw it or anything.
I saw the Batman and I tuned out. I was like, Batman, now I'm out next.
Well, it's going to get much worse for you if you did not read this. So Manta Lab is trying to appeal to the people that are trying to limit waste, I think, and save money. These releases are the first release in a line that they are calling CP. First of all, worst abbreviation ever. Nothing should ever be abbreviated CP unless you want to be on a list. The second thing, the reason they're doing this is their exact words. We have partnered with CP licenses to produce a collectible steelbook at a much lower price point without including the movie discs. As an exclusive steelbook company, our goal is to always provide amazing designs and high-quality products for every movie steelbook, and we are excited to expand our collection with this new product line. Blah, 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 a lot of other things selling it. I get that. I get the reason behind this, and if it is actually able to save them some money and get these cheaper, great. Unfortunately, if you go to buy the one click from them, they are still pricing this at $133 USD.
What?
For 3 steelbooks in a hard box.
I'm sorry, that's so stupid.
$133. If you go and buy their lenticular full slip, their double lenticular, or their full slip box, those are going to be about $40 a piece for one little box and a steelbook with no disc. So I love premiums. I think they're really cool if you really love the movie.
Sure.
But $133 for 3 empty steelbooks.
No. Just no.
I don't even know what else to say about this. Like, the sad thing is, I love the designs. Like, a lot of the stuff that they're doing here, it looks really cool. I'm sure it would be great to have.
Yeah.
I don't need it for the Batman. Obviously, this is going to get probably 512 more releases in the next 4 years. But it's beautiful. I love it. But $133.
Yeah.
3 empty steelbooks.
Sardis.
Are they made from a recycled Batmobile? Yeah. Yeah, this is interesting. The thing that I was going to say, which is what Chester just said, aren't the discs the cheapest part of this release? Go ahead, throw them in, please. To a point, that's probably true. To actually produce that part, it's probably one of the cheapest parts. But if the license itself is that cost prohibitive, you would think they'd be able to sell empty steelbooks for maybe 60 for 3 steelbooks in a big nice box. That makes sense. For twice that? No.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, and then on top of that, I forgot, this is also an Asian company, so you have to pay for shipping.
Oh, super. Hard pass.
So probably like $154.
Okay.
Speaking of steelbooks, Vestron Video is getting into the steelbook game out of nowhere. They are releasing what appears to be a Walmart exclusive steelbook for Maximum Overdrive. This is the first steelbook they've released. The discs appear to be the same. However, they are including a downloadable copy for everybody, the digital copy. That's looks to be the only real difference from the first one. First off, Maximum Overdrive. Are you a fan or anti?
Oh, no, I'm a fan. I mean, it's not great, but it opens with a kid getting steamrolled. So yeah, I'm in.
And you can almost taste the cocaine.
Yeah, it's cocaine Stephen King. It's best, it's like PTA. It's the best era of that creator's output. I'll take cocaine PTA over, what is he, like weed dad PTA now?
Weed dad PTA.
Yeah, no thanks. But yeah, no, I like Maximum Overdrive. I don't love it, but I do like it.
Yeah. It's good. It's fun. It's fine. I'm into it. The interesting thing here is, as a Walmart exclusive steelbook, this is cheaper than when they released the slipcover version of this. And we're in the middle of inflation, everything. This film was released, I believe, in like 2019 originally through their slipcover line. It was the last like overpriced title that they did. That was like $28. You can get this on Walmart right now for like $21.
Yeah, okay.
Shocked, but decent. Warner Archive is hosting a sale over on Movie Zing at the moment. This is their 14th anniversary sale, and depending on how you look at it, this is an okay sale to a very meh sale. And if you live in Illinois, it's probably a very not worth it sale. Basically, it's 4 releases that are single disc releases for $49 plus $12.25 for every additional title that you get. And the most recent titles appear to be from around December. However, shipping is $5.96 for those first 4 titles, and then $1 more for every title that you add. So when they say $12.25 for each additional Blu-ray, it's actually $13.25 for each additional Blu-ray. So it's not great for a single disc Warner Archive release. However, some of these don't really go on sale all that often. But the odd thing is, the ones that have been very recently released, like in the last year and a half to 2 years, they are going on sale all the time on Amazon for like $10, way cheaper than this. So you might want to keep an eye on that and compare some prices. Warner Archive, you got much from them? Anything that you'd recommend off the top of your head?
I have a terrible memory, Ryan, so I don't know what's on my shelf. I'm sure I have some on there I could recommend, but I can't answer any questions about my physical media collection at the moment, because the only thing I can talk about is like the stuff that I pulled aside for this tonight. Like everything
That and
else.
baseboards.
Yeah, that and baseboards, and everything is covered in drywall dust right now, and I would be ashamed to show anything that I have. Like I had to wipe everything off.
Makes perfect sense. I'll throw out Waiting for Guffman. One of their best releases. Love that movie.
Yeah.
I love that this is the last post to talk about, and that this is the picture that they used. Oh my gosh. So I had somebody that commented, and you can see right here, I thought this account got hacked for a second when I saw this picture. So 88 Films is I can't even talk. They're hosting a sale that they're calling Bums. They're calling it the Buy Yourself More Stuff sale. And if you go to their website and use the code BUMS, B-U-M-S, all in capitals, you get 30% off of orders when it's over 45 pounds. And they've got good releases for the most part. 88 Films is pretty solid. It's decent when you can get, 30% off will save you probably shipping and a little bit more. Unless you go super ham on this and are able to spend, $400 and really save on shipping, then it starts to get very tempting, but, do what you can handle.
Yeah.
I love that they use this for marketing.
I guess.
For those listening to the audio tomorrow, they are, it's a giant ass in green leggings with the most nondescript font saying #sale, see website for details. There's no branding. I can see why somebody seeing me post this picture would go, have you been hacked?
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. What is coming out next week? There is, it looks like a lot because they list all of the OCN titles for the last week of the month, even though those are either usually sent by now for most people or even arrived. But we got The Exorcist 3 4K in Scream Factory release going out. We've got the 5 days 4K from Severin getting its retail release. All Quiet on the Western Front, the Oscar-winning film, is getting a 4K media book, which I'm still shocked that we're getting this on physical media, considering it was a Netflix film in the U.S. Kuruku, Beast of the Amazon, gets a retail release from Vinegar Syndrome, and then all of the VS titles, like I said. Dead Silence 4K coming from Scream Factory. I got to ask, how do you feel about Dead Silence? I don't remember. Are you James Wan fan? I
am not. I do not care for James Wan at all.
How about Wanted on 4K?
I've just never seen it. Is that the one with like the bending bullets or something like that? Yeah, I'm good.
It's so odd the way they film it. They like jerk their arms like this, and the motion of doing that makes it go around a corner. Come on. Cinderella in 4K. The original Cinderella from 1950 is a Disney Movie Club exclusive that has been released. Violent Streets, the Umberto Lenzi and Tomas Milian collection, is getting its retail release from Severin. All of these OCN releases. The Duck Dodgers, the complete series, gets its release finally. BBC Frozen Planet 2 on 4K is coming out next week. If you are dying to see Gerard Butler and Plane on 4K, that releases next week.
Plane! I don't know. It's just so stupid.
Chucky season 2 next week. Rawhead Rex 4K. That was amazing. Rawhead Rex 4K from Kino. Batman, the Doom of the Doom that came to Gotham comes out next week. That Lighthouse 4K from A24, by the way, already shipping to a lot of people. Chilly Scenes of Winter from Criterion, one that a lot of people are looking forward to. That drops next Tuesday. Wish it was before this flash sale. Missing. Did you get a chance to see Missing?
No, I saw the is that a sequel to Searching?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw that one and I thought it was actually pretty good. So I'm curious. I'll probably watch that. I'll probably wait till it gets to the library or something though.
Yeah, all the reviews made it look like it's like on par with the first one, which was a surprisingly decent well-made movie.
Yeah.
If you are loving the 90s and looking to get Dawson's Creek, the complete series on Blu-ray from Mill Creek, next week is your opportunity. And that is the bulk of it, unless you really want to see G.I. Joe Retaliation in 4K next week. Another from Discotheque. That's another one that people have been looking forward to. That's next week. Knockabout from Arrow Video. Yeah, that's Calling Curse Meow. Or Nurse Meow. Wow. All right. Let's get into some dick destruction. I'll go first. So Erica usually has all of the deep cuts. So I tried to go with some of the more well-known scenes. And obviously on these, there's going to be some spoilers. And I'm sure we'll talk about honorable mentions and ones that are very obvious afterwards. Some of the ones I chose are got to give a little bit of context. So with spoilers, it's going to be either what's happening in the movie or very specific what's in the scene that made me go, okay, we kind of got to talk about this one. So the first one, I don't love cannibal movies. I've never been like a giant fan, and a lot of the cannibal movies have one, but I had to go with Cannibal Ferox. So this one, people stuck in a cage watching this go down, somebody tied to a stake, and the guy gets dismembered. But what makes it memorable is the island person, the cannibal here, dismembers it and immediately takes a bite out of raw penis, which is just the most jarring, odd scene to see in a cannibal film out of nowhere. What do you think of Cannibal Ferox?
I love it. I do. I love cannibal movies. Like, I don't obviously, love the animal violence part of it, but there's just, it's, everything Italian horror, it's my comfort area. And so I like putting something on and knowing exactly what I'm going to get. So yeah, Duck Dodgers dick destruction. Hell yeah.
Oh man, I love it. And then Media Membrane said, not a good night for anyone named Richard. I love it. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff this show lives for. Yeah, Cannibal Ferox is one of the better cannibal films in my mind. It's decently made. It's at least competent. It's not it's pretty pure exploitation, but it's better made pure exploitation.
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
So my list is entirely ones where a female is doing the dick destructing. So mine's heavy on rape revenge, like my list is. So just, content warning for that for folks. But outside of, there are some more sort of humorous ones that are on revenge. And, if anyone's going to do it right, it's going to be Hong Kong. So my first one is a Chinese torture chamber story from 1994. Where a woman gets revenge on her cheating husband by giving him a aphrodisiac that is too powerful and it causes his dick to explode.
I've not been able to see this one.
It's fantastic. It's got a great, obviously the core of the story is that it's about people getting, people are in front of a judge and they're being punished, and there's all these ridiculous torture methods. The woman who did, this act to her husband, she gets put on trial for it. But there's this great scene of people having sex midair. So if you've seen oh God, what's Choi one? It's escaping me. I'll think of it later, but it's a lot of fun. I like it, good for her. Don't let that man cheat on you. Take his dick away. Take his power.
Is there any release of this one?
I don't think so. No, I wouldn't be surprised if it would get one soon, though. The way that they've been releasing Hong Kong films, I wouldn't be surprised if this got one soon.
Ooh. Is there anything that would make somebody stay away from it? In terms of the maybe too many animal deaths or anything crazy?
No, this one's more focused on torturing people. So
so it's clean. Got it.
Yeah, of course.
Celeste says this whole list could be a good for her adjacent list.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, number 4. I hope I'm not stealing one from you. This is the only one that I wanted to go rape revenge, and only because it is revenge on somebody else's behalf.
Mhm.
And I have to go with how much I love Wes Craven with the original Last House on the Left. So obviously this is a classic. Everybody in this movie is just filthy throughout, no matter what scene you're looking at. The scene in the very beginning that is, the catalyst for what we get through the rest of the film is, especially for the time, just brutal. It's very realistic, very it's like the irreversible of its day, essentially. And by the end of the film, when we end up with the parents of this individual that was raped, and mom gets to get her own revenge here, and she is outside by the lake or river, whatever it is, and sits down and basically talks the attacker into some fellatio, and goes to town on him for what is oddly like a little too long, and then she goes in for the attack, and it's so odd because it kind of is like that scene in Irreversible, because it's quiet and you're feeling every single moment of what is going down, but it's so like while it's happening, you can see that. Well, first of all, forgot to mention he also has his hands tied behind his back, so he's very vulnerable at the moment. But it's a very odd scene of like, what the hell is she doing? And then out of nowhere, this attack comes, and this revenge is carried out, and it's so cathartic. And we've talked about that on this channel quite a few times. But it's a really nice moment to, odd to describe it that way, nice moment to feel like the mom was able to come to the defense and get something back for this individual. So,
Yeah.
Last House on the Left. I'm sure you can speak more eloquently on it than I can off the cuff.
I mean, it was on my honorable mention list, and I was like, I'll put that on my list if Ryan doesn't bring it up. But yeah, that was a hard movie for me to watch initially. You know, I saw it in my early 20s, and I myself have been assaulted, and so like seeing something like that, before you're able to fully process your own trauma can sometimes be really difficult. But there is something very cathartic about watching those films and seeing the revenge that happens to it, but also seeing these people survive through it. So I think it's a really important film. I think people, focus, I mean, as they rightfully should to a certain extent, on the type of film that it is, an exploitation film. It's very raw. It's not for everyone, and I would never blame anybody who's like, I can't watch that film. I get it. Other people, certain people are in a different place. So yeah.
We have multiple people that want to know where you got your shirt.
Oh, it is a now defunct company. It was called Tease on Scene, or like Mise en Scène. But I have another one from them that's Scripto de Daria Nicolodi.
Nice.
I'm not going to tell people to like rip off like someone else's design, but really you can just like get a picture of it and like send it and get your own shirt made. So I've seen people do that before. So, but yeah, no, love Roberta. I didn't put any of her movies on my list though. So
Number 4.
Yes, mine. Sorry, I got my list on my phone, so I'm going to be rude here for a second.
Take your time.
Yeah, so this is I remember, I think this came up in Discord at some point. Foxy Brown is not on my list, and that's because Pam Grier is not the one who cuts the dick off and puts it in the pickle jar. But Coffee is on my list because she shoots that fucker's dick off at the end.
I love the nuance here. Oh, Pam Grier. Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah. I love all of her movies from that era are just so rewatchable. And that's just another thing about, like with Italian movies, like having like sort of a comfort where it's like, oh, I haven't seen this Pam Grier movie from the 70s, but I know exactly what I'm going to get. So there's something comforting about that.
John says Coffee is the greatest.
Yes, it is.
Sibner says, I feel like there's a big difference with something like I Spit on Your Grave and The Nightingale. I mean, you could kind of argue both ways. I'd like to see why you think there's a difference. If you want to explain in the comments, I'll go on to number 3 while we wait. My number 3, again, I had to go for some of the ones that I knew were going to be the comic relief to what you were going to be picking. I had to go with one of the best combinations in horror ever, and that is when metal comes together with horror in a wonderful way. And got to go with Deathgasm. The scene in Deathgasm is where a zombie basically is standing there, Winnie the Poohing it, as the kids would say nowadays, just wearing a shirt and nothing else. And
Yeah.
the individual that is attacking the zombie walks up with a weed whacker and turns it into a tallywhacker and completely eviscerates this guy's member. And it is just so artfully done. It is something that you're like, I will never see that on TV, and then it comes up and you're like, they put that in a movie. That's remarkable. Deathgasm is great fun. If people haven't seen it, please seek it out. It got a good-ish release in the US from Dark Sky or MPI or somebody like that. It's on Raven Banner from Canada with a little bit better release if you're all about slipcovers and all that stuff. But fun movie. What do you think of Deathgasm? Haven't seen it?
No, I've seen it.
Against it? No,
I'm not against it. That's just not my bag. I don't know what it was. It didn't click with me. And honestly, that a lot of new horror that happens with, like, there's a lot of hurdles anything post 1999 needs to overcome with me. So like, it's not the movie's fault. It's just my taste is not aligned with whatever it is that they're doing is all. So yeah.
I get it. I completely get it.
Yeah.
Sibner says, I feel like I Spit on Your Grave overdoes its point to where it's exploitative, whereas The Nightingale plays it in a more controlled manner as the catalyst for the story, not an extended showcase of the exploitation. But again, it's a male perspective, so I might be way off. I think maybe the biggest thing to keep in mind is probably when the films were made. I Spit on Your Grave being subversive for when it came out was one of the big points of that, and why it has such a lasting reputation.
Yeah. I see your point, but yeah, I think I think those types of movies, it's what you bring into them a lot of times. So, I mean, I'm going to look at them a lot differently than
For sure.
than a cis white man or something, so it's just, I don't know.
It's also very different situations in both films.
Yeah.
Obviously, I Spit on Your Grave is literally just a bunch of white dudes for shits and gigs, basically. And for The Nightingale, it's an attack, an affront on basically like class warfare.
Yeah. Very
all
different.
Right. Number 3, top some Deathgasm, I'm sure.
I don't know. I'm going to go with my most tame pick because I don't want to save it for last. This is a movie I got to see at X Fest last year. The one that Exhumed Films puts on mid-year.
Oh, nice.
It's not their horror-thon. It's not a 24-hour. It's like noon to midnight. And they do just 8 random films, random genre or exploitation films. And this was, I think, the second one that they played. And it's called The Ladies Club from 1986. And it's got a lot of familiar faces in it. I forgot to write down who they are. But it's basically about a group of women who band together. One of them is a doctor, and they're really frustrated with the fact that all of these men who have been raping women, either them in the group or women that they know or are related to, those men have not been getting convicted and they've been getting released. So they take it upon themselves to drug, kidnap, and castrate all of these men. They cut off their testicles to take away their hormones so that they're not, it takes away their inclination, which I don't know if just cutting off someone's nutsack is going to do that. I feel like there's something going on up here if it's more a power trip.
Yeah.
I bring it up only because it's unique, because it feels like something that my mom could watch and be like, that's a good message, you know, but at the same time, the movie is really frustrating, and this is kind of another reason that I wanted to bring it up is because um it kind of portrays rapists as like the stranger lurking in the corner, as being like the norm for rape, which
Right.
is not the case at all. Like most rapes happen by someone you know.
Yeah.
You know, date rape. Like one of the ones that I didn't put on my list because there's no dick destruction in it, but one of my absolute favorite rape revenge movies, and I only have the VHS because it doesn't have a release, is Deep in the Heart.
Hmm.
It's an excellent, it's very Texan, it's very raw, but it's got probably one of the most realistic depictions of an assault that I've ever seen in a film. Because
What
for
year
the
is that one from?
80, I can't,
All
mid
all IMDb about while you
Thank
look at
you.
it.
It's got the thing is cut, so I can't see the year on this, but
83 it looks like. Is that
okay.
Karen Young?
Yes.
Huh. It's got an alternate title of Handgun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the yeah, I like Deep in the Heart because it takes place in Texas and, you know. But yeah, Handgun's the other title for it. It's probably still on YouTube. But yeah, it's great.
Still on YouTube. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that one up. Where is my list? There it is. So the next two for me are the ones that came to mind immediately when we started talking about this, and they are both over the top funny. But the order I was going to put them in, one is genuinely for revenge, so I was saving that for number one. Number two is what I feel like is maybe the most iconic one of these for me, and that is because I've watched the movie more times than I can count, and that is the, of course, ridiculous scene from Street Trash. Uh, we have somebody that is infected reach through a RV or whatever the hell it is and rip off the dick of somebody that's trying to pee, and then there is the most ridiculous game of keep away that you will ever see with close-up shots of a dick flying through the air, I think like 6 times. A woman, one of the homeless women in this junkyard catches it and like puts it under her shirt for a second and just sits there and then throws it away again as she almost gets tackled. Street Trash is amazing. It's also awful and
Yeah,
it's just
both
fun.
of those.
It is so like, you know, that it's famous for its goopy scenes, which I love. I love melt movies.
Yeah.
And this scene is just a moment of levity between weird WTF scenes in this movie, and I love this movie, and I really hope the whole Synapse is supposedly working on the Street Trash 4K. I hope that happens because Street Trash has always looked pretty damn rough.
Yeah.
And even with the good restoration, I'm sure they were not filming on very high quality film stock or anything. I just hope it's good. Street Trash is fun. It's not like a brilliant film or anything for a good hour and a half film.
Yeah, I almost wore my Street Trash tank top to this, but I was with Roberta, so yeah.
Nice. I went for
God, Ryan. Jeez. What
it
month do you think it is? We get 1 month, Ryan. God.
I'm wondering if she's going to use this one, but probably not because it's past 1999. Sibner says, I'm hoping Hostel 2 makes it.
I would never put an Eli Roth movie on any list.
Harsh.
No, not.
I like Eli Roth. I'm sorry. Well, I haven't seen all of his stuff. I shouldn't say it like that. I like what I've seen from him.
All right. Good for you.
What do we got at number 2?
All right. I don't know what to put for number. I'm going in between the two. I'm going to save my best deep cut for number 1. I'll go number 2. Jess Franco. She killed in ecstasy from 1971. Soledad Miranda, just beautiful. You know, her partner kills himself and she's out for revenge. He goes after Howard Vernon, and yeah, she gets intimate with him, and because he had something to do with the reason that her partner killed himself, and so she's going around and getting revenge the easiest and best way she knows possible, and she cuts off his dick in bed. And you don't see the actual cutting, but you see like his bloody crotch after the fact. So yeah, I picked
Jess
Jess
Franco is not my favorite, but this
I
is
know, that's why I picked it.
Thank you. This is one of his better ones. I definitely appreciate this movie more than most. There's probably maybe two others I've liked more than this one from him.
Yeah.
But this one's a really good movie, actually. It's Soledad Miranda is just incredible in pretty much everything. This is a really good choice. I do kind of laugh at the people that think that Jess Franco was a little exploitative in what he did, but then if you watch a lot of these, he cuts away before a lot of the action, and this scene is one of them. And it's funny that he's remembered that way, because it's not most, at least the ones I've seen, most of them, they're not really heavy on that aspect. It's just he's a little absurdist in what he did.
Yeah, for sure. No, not even Cabin Fever. That's not he's trying to, understand why I don't like Eli Roth. I'm not going to get into it. Just, anyway.
You got some others on your side too.
I know. Thank you. Night of the Demon. I love that one. And that, honestly, if my list was not completely women inflicting the damage, I would have put Night of the Demon on my list. And probably RoboCop 2 as well, Paul. So yeah.
Well, and we still have honorable mentions, so we'll actually hear kind of about both of those in just a minute.
Okay.
Kevin says the opening scene in She Killed in Ecstasy, where Soledad is descending the stairs with her cape flowing behind her, is one of the most beautiful openings in film history.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. What's going on, Key-Ray?
All right, you're up. Number one, yeah?
To each their own. No, that's fair, is what he said. Okay, so my number one. This one is funny because it's kind of revenge, but it's not. It's more like cinematic revenge. And I think this is the first one that made me, because of my age when I saw this movie, I was finally old enough to understand, like, oh, there's a reason that the guy's actually getting hurt here. And because of my my stupid upbringing, where a lot of the stuff was sheltered from me, I didn't understand the artistic side of a lot of these. And this is going to be a funny movie to go with after talking about the artistic side. But because it was formidable, I have to go with Piranha 3D from 2010. So okay. I have always hated Jerry O'Connell pretty much in everything that he does. He's always this awful character. He's always skeezy. He's always the random person that comes in and just makes you feel uncomfortable in every single scene. And he really, really is just gross in this movie. And oh God, does he get his comeuppance. So Jerry O'Connell is in the water with a bunch of these CGI, terrible CGI, piranha, and gets attacked. And in this, he starts yelling out, "They got my penis," multiple times, which is the most obvious line ever. But then they show him on the bow of this deck, the bow of the ship or boat that they're on, whatever. And the CGI makes it look like everything from his waist down has just been fully eviscerated. Then, because this film is so heavy on 3D, which honestly, the 3D was decent in this movie, I got to admit. They go underwater, and you see a piranha come up to this CGI, like really awful CGI penis, and eat it, go off screen, and then come back and literally burp, and the dick comes back at the screen. Oh my gosh. It's such a funny scene, but it's great revenge for everything that he did up to that point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you got to see Jerry O'Connell get his dick bit off. Then
me too.
I'm happy for you.
Dylan says, "Did I hate Jerry O'Connell and Stand By Me?" He wasn't Jerry O'Connell yet. He was like Gerald, young little Jerry. Okay. It's different.
I get it. I can see that. Yeah.
Sivner says, "I missed the guidelines, but perhaps Hard Candy." I will say, I don't think any actual dick destruction happened in Hard Candy. I think all of that was like a mind game. Have you seen Hard Candy?
Actually, no, I haven't.
It's Elliot Page and Patrick Wilson. And
yeah.
in the film, they had Patrick Wilson laying down on a table. I think he was drugged somehow. It's been a long time since I've seen it. And so he was drugged. He comes to, and she is displaying a surgical film on a TV next to them and making it look like she's trying to learn how to do surgery on like a castration, full on castration, balls on ice and everything. And he wakes up in the middle of it, and she starts speaking with him like she's about to do it. And then it's just a mind game. And I don't think anything actually happens in Hard Candy. And by the way, I use she because it was she in the film, and Elliot Page was not Elliot Page at the moment. Great film. I think a lot of people should go back to it. It's really well acted, actually.
Okay. I am not unsubscribing to the Discord. Stop it, John. No, I haven't seen Hard Candy, but I'm interested. And I think, some people are asking about like, well, what's the guidelines here? There's really not, it's really
just fun.
We're just like the source of this, or the inspiration, is from Louise Weird's list on Letterboxd of dick destruction movies. And it's really just like my personal guidelines for this, like that I, decided on, was like, I want to do all ones where a female is inflicting the damage, and mainly for like, the revenge aspect of it. But I mean, there's definitely other ones that I appreciate a lot that, that have come up in here for sure. And there's definitely ones that I think are important to talk about when it comes to mutilation. Ones that are on her list, like Glenn or Glenda, Let Me Die a Woman, things like that. So, that list on Letterboxd, it's honestly, it's my second or third, no, it's my second or third favorite list on Letterboxd. Obviously, My Child Kills one is my first favorite one. And then PD 187 has a list of movies where George Buck Flower is not like his the role description of him is not bum, drunk, hobo, or whatever. So that's one of my other favorite lists. And then Louise's list.
I was very curious where that was going to go as you started that.
Yeah. I know where I'm going.
The list for the Louise Weird comprehensive list of penis mutilation. The link for that is now in the chat, so make sure you check that out.
There you go.
Number one, the big one.
Number one, and this is not by any means like the king of all like dick destruction movies. If I had to pick one from all of these, it's probably Chinese Torture Chamber Story, because come on, you eat an exploding penis from eating an aphrodisiac or drinking an aphrodisiac. I don't remember, but I'm gonna go with my, like, I guess sort of what I consider to be like the deepest cut on here for number one, and that's The Kiss of Death from 1973. So Shaw Brothers, more like outside of just their standard martial arts and fantasy films and, a handful of horror movies, they also, tried dipping their toes in other exploitation films and what was popular. And they did their own, biker exploitation movie, which is Killers on Wheels, which is really good. Just watched that recently. But The Kiss of Death is their rape revenge movie. And it's about a woman who is gang raped, and she later asks a former kung fu fighter played by Lo Lei to train her so that she can get revenge against all of the men who raped her. He eventually agrees to do that and trains her. And the moves included in that are the special, it's called the groin crunching blow. And I won't spoil what that is. You can watch it for yourself. But yeah, I don't want to call it a fun rape revenge movie because that sounds terrible, but it's a Shaw Brothers movie. So you kind of know what to expect going into it. But I enjoy that one a lot, as much as you can enjoy a rape revenge movie.
Will now wants your shirt as well. Paul has seen this one, it looks like. Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing this one. I've not seen this one. Shaw, I really hope that we get some more of their stuff, whether from '88 or get some of these deeper cuts through the Shaw scope sets. But
Yeah.
it would be pretty nice to get stuff that is not all martial arts on some of these future releases from Arrow too.
Yeah, this one and Killers on Wheels, I really hope make their way into future Shaw scope sets for sure.
That would be an interesting turn from what they've given us so far.
Yeah.
Some honorable mentions. Obviously, I think most of mine have been brought up at this point, so I'll just throw out the scene in Night of the Demon is hilarious. It was certainly on my list. It's very bloody, and then the guy like gurgling over his motorcycle is weird. The end of Hostel 2, I actually think is a fairly good scene because they show the female having empathy towards this person, and then the people that are controlling this whole hostile situation, they essentially say you can't leave unless you take a life, and she doesn't hesitate at all and immediately cuts off his dick and lets him bleed out. So it's just this immediate turn of, well, fine, I'm going to be strong and stand up for myself, and
Yeah.
love that. Then nobody mentioned tonight Teeth. There are two in the movie Teeth. I don't love the movie Teeth, but the final one where it's like the stepbrother or whatever it is,
Yeah.
just a gross scene, and I'm so glad that it happened. And then the dog eats it, and it's just
Yeah.
it's happy for everybody. Except I always worried about that dog because it had a Prince Albert in it.
That's true. Yeah.
The
Oh.
last thing, everybody mentioned RoboCop. I did want to point out, if you have not seen it, there is, and I'm sure you've seen it just because it's amazing. There is a fan-made compilation that is up online, and there is one scene, the dick shooting scene specifically, is one of the most hilarious things of all time because they redid the scene to be exploitative, full of penis destruction, and you probably see like 95 penises get mutilated in like 4 minutes, genuinely. And it's not in an actual movie, so I can't use it, but it is it if it was, it would be the winner easily.
Yeah. Yeah, RoboCop is on my honorable mentions. I had Teeth on my list initially, but I took it off because I think Will brought it up in an earlier episode this month, and so I was trying to like avoid any duplicates in these conversations. Serbian film was on my honorable mention list as well. John just mentioned that one. I think I saw someone post about Invasion USA earlier too,
Yep.
and that's on my list where Chuck Norris shoots everyone in the dick, and that's America. What else was I had Desperate Living on my list as well for an honorable mention where he gets hit, he has gender reassignment surgery, but his partner doesn't like it, so she cuts it off, and it's like, no, I like you the way that you are. It's good. It's it's heartwarming. It's a good message. I had Ginger 1971, which it's okay. It's like a exploitation film. She is undercover trying to break up a sex trafficking ring, and she gets all these men into bed, and one in particular, she uses a piano wire to what you're going to do with that. And then we talked about Last House on the Left already earlier, and as I Spit on Your Grave, like I think you just can't not mention movies like that. I think those are kind of the first two that a lot of people think of when they think of, especially in the terms of rape revenge and dick destruction.
And of course, the remake has a scene with it. I think the sequel to the remake has a scene with dick destruction. There's a lot, and if you look on Louise's list, there's a lot on here that you probably forget has a scene with dick destruction. I mean, Basket Case has a scene, Battle Royale has a scene. Louise has 21 Jump Street on here, which I think is hilarious. Brain Dead or Dead Alive even has a scene, and that's one of my favorite movies. It's just not one that I thought made my list.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to bring up or highlight with dick destruction before we hang this up for the night?
No, I just we've mentioned her name a few times already, but like, I mean, her list was essentially, and her clip show at Fantastic Fest was, the inspiration for this. She's doing great work with not just the films that she's making, but her podcast Trans Panic. So, encourage folks to just kind of, check those out if you can. Also, watch more Roberta Finlay.
Always. No love for Garp. Like, yes, that scene is great, but it's not. It doesn't quite fit for me, at least. Like, it's hilarious, believe me, but it's not quite the same. A lot of these, at least, were malicious or in spite, basically. So, yeah, Garp is great. Everybody needs to watch Garp. All right.
Dylan Smithy, Elf.
Dick destruction. I'm very confused by that comment.
Yeah.
As usual, before we hang up, I just wanted to say thank you to all the patrons of the channel. You guys are amazing. It is the week where we are doing our watch along this weekend. So if somebody wants to get in on that, this is the best time to sign up. I believe what is in the lead was, let me take a look. Yeah. It looks like at the moment we're going to be watching a movie that I've never seen before, but I'm eager to see. I was kind of hoping one of the other ones won. We watched that in the Discord, so if you sign up at the mid tier or high tier, you'll get access to the Discord, and that'll be Sunday night. So come join us, and I think that's all I got. Thanks for coming back.
Of course, happy to come back anytime.
And everybody, don't forget, the book from Erica is going to be available again at some point, hopefully this summer. The Sweetest Taboo, an Unapologetic Guide to Child Kills in Film. And then on top of that, make sure you get the Made in Hong Kong box set that features Erica's writing. Listen to Unsung Horrors. You got another essay coming out, a visual essay coming out. I mean, you're going to be everywhere.
I'm trying to keep busy.
Do it. By the way, this was the last thing I was going to say. Sibner says, are we not sticking around for the midnight launch? No. We're coming back in 35 minutes for the midnight launch. I got to make sure that I have earbuds charged because they're going to die if I don't. I will see you guys in 35 minutes. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next week.